Hello. This is the fourth edition of Help Me Please, where I, Alexi, answer your you questions. We have Marissa, 26, from an undisclosed location. She could be here in the studio. Asks, what's the difference between good and bad discomfort? The first thought I had is the difference between good and bad discomfort is the difference between feeling that something is food poisoning or something is potential. And Marissa goes on to say she's in a long distance relationship that's been on and off the past few years. They communicate well and she's proud of that, but sometimes she wants to run away from discomfort. She's also moving, starting a new job, and wants to make new friends. Lots of changes. So what's the difference between good and bad discomfort? I had a long distance relationship for, I think it was like 3 years when I was in college, and I actually really liked it. Because I was in college, he had graduated, and what I loved was that everyone knew I was in a relationship and I could focus on friendships in college. I could focus on running, on improv, on the things I really wanted to evolve for me. And I wasn't distracted by relationships. This is a loaded question because you're sort of asking about a long distance relationship, but what you're really asking about is you're making all these changes in your life and you're trying to figure out if you should feel this much discomfort as you grow and change. And so just to go a little higher level, I guess I just want to acknowledge that when you go through any change, so you're moving, your job is changing, etc., there is a feeling of discomfort even if the change is good, because change feels uncomfortable to your nervous system. And I'm sure there's more science behind this. But I think just getting comfortable with the fact that there's a physical discomfort associated with any change is going to help you. You just have to make the best decision you can for the next short period of time and not think that committing to a long distance relationship tomorrow means you're committing for the next year. And then give yourself the chance to check in as the natural feeling of discomfort associated with change subsides. And then the real feelings are going to come up to the surface. How does it really feel to be in a long distance relationship? How does it really feel to have this new job, to live in this new place, to meet these new people? When you made this decision, you made it so that you could have a better future, right? You made this decision with strength, I hope. And so now that you've made this decision, give yourself the chance to live the decision and then see if the pain is actually good pain or bad pain. I don't think there are regrets. I think that you just make a decision at the height of your intelligence at a moment, and then you give yourself the chance to live that decision and evaluate it and let yourself change with it. And then you make another decision. The only time you might feel regret is if, I don't know that I ever feel regret really, because there's only a mistake if you know you should make a shift and you don't make it. And I think anything else is just a lesson and is just growth and is just life. And we're meant to keep pivoting, assessing, recovering, pivoting, assessing, living, recovering, pivoting, assessing, living, recovering. That's life. So I don't know about regret. I mean, I've made some pretty bad decisions, but at the time I really thought that was the right decision, and or there was a reason for it that I need to stand behind, because I'm always trying my best, and you're always trying your best, right? You're trying to support yourself. And yeah, I mean, I think that regret isn't as useful as learning and reflection and being in your human experience. Okay, so if you're trying to figure out if you should break up with this boyfriend, understand that all relationships are meant to add to your life. I mean, if it was me, I think now might be a good time to have a little bit of alone time to really assess who you are in this new environment. And then you can see if you want to add that piece back in, but you don't need to take it with you. It's also hard to assess the difference between good pain and bad pain if there are too many factors. So if you're already going through a big change of where you're living, your job, etc., taking the boyfriend element out of it, if it's not a solid, sound foundation, might be helpful for you to even look at that clearly and even understand yourself in this new change clearly. I guess if we're just being like girls, this is also a good opportunity to like have a little break from that and really see it without it feeling like whack or bigger than it is, because a move is a big thing. So sometimes changes outside of your relationship allow you to have a change in your relationship that is a little more like forgiving of a space than if it's just pointing at the relationship being like, this is a problem. It's like, no, you're evolving. You need to change so that you can bring your changed self back to this relationship or not. That's the other thing about relationships. Don't date because you want to. Date because you meet someone that you have to be with. It's an awesome feeling when you're like, oh, I've got to date this guy. Like you feel it, and you know when you feel it. And so if you take this time, you will know, like, I just got to be with him, and you'll feel that pull. And you'll feel that pull even truer if you allow yourself to grow as a human first. Marissa, you're also 26. You just got off your parents' insurance. So that's another change. I feel like 26 is a big year. Okay, Lily, who's 23 from Minnesota, says, being 23 years old sucks and wants to know how to do it. She was an athlete in college. She just retired from sports, and she moved back home with her parents to save money. And now she's trying to find her footing. So first of all, you're adorable. And I promise you are. Even if you can't see it that way, when you're 23, you are so young and adorable because you're the youngest adult. So you are young, and you feel that you're out of the organization of your team for the first time, and you're out of the organization of your school. And that must feel really, really hard. And you're saying it sucks. I'm saying it's adorable. So let's just start there. You can see whatever situation you're in from this tiny little box that is you looking at a mirror of yourself, reflecting back and forth, and it's very scary. Or you can look in that box as if you're me for a second, and so many other people, and even you in the future, and say, I'm so adorable because I'm lost again. And I was just at the top of my academic ladder, right? I was a senior and I was on the team, and now I'm an asteroid. But it's an amazing time to be 23 and to actually have the permission to be lost again. How rad. Like, this is a romantic time, okay? Like, it's rare to be 23. You are rarely knowledgeable enough to understand the real world and your mortality, and you are definitely still completely lost. And that's my favorite character in a movie. It's my favorite characters in books. And it's my favorite thing to think about when I think back to moments in my life. I'm like fondest of the intervals when I felt most like you. I understand there's probably some like real needs that you have, right? You might really need to get a job. You might really need to figure out where you want to live. You might really feel lost without the organization of sports. You might not have your friends around that you used to have down the hall. Like, that's a real feeling of discomfort. But it's navigatable, right? There's a lot bigger world out there for you, and it's there for you. So this show is called Mentor Buffet, right? And I really have tried when I felt most limited, or like I couldn't give myself what I needed, to think about the world as like this offering plate. And even though it's like overwhelming, like there's so many dishes to choose from, there's so many places you could live, there's so many jobs, people are scary, it's still an abundant thing, right? You're scared because you feel tiny in a big world. You used to feel big in a world you now understand in college, right? On your teams. And take a breath to know that nobody expects of you right now what you're expecting of yourself. Because as an adult, I'm telling you, nobody thinks the 23-year-old is going to figure everything out when she's 23. She thinks she is. She thinks she has to. But it's all going to cycle, and you're going to become 23 again in your mind when you're 33. It's just life. So let's just start by realizing that what you think you need to know right now. You're not supposed to know. You're just supposed to take the next step. And as far as like organizing that next step, it does start with like, what are your actual needs to like survive? Like, do you need a place to live? Do you need a job? And make those your priority because you need to take care of that. And then go into every step of your growth with the understanding that it's probably not going to be the final answer to your question. What will my job be? It's like, no, it's not what your career will be. It's what is my job right now? Because the job is going to change the human, is going to bring you new people in your life, is going to bring opportunities you didn't even know existed. So you don't have to know everything. You just need to keep moving and put yourself in an environment to grow, whether it's career-wise, person-wise, or otherwise. So it's these little steps that you're going to take. Like you're not staying still. You're not staying in the apartment all day. So you're taking steps in your life with wonder. You're taking steps with an observatory mind, not a conclusionary mind. And you need to find yourself as adorable as I do because you're so cute. I think there's like 2 really reasonable practices you could have. One is going into new environments by yourself. And that might be like going to a dance class. It could be going out to a bar by yourself. It could be, I don't know, just go places by yourself and then come back to your home where you're comfortable and you can reset and process, and pair doing things by yourself with developing an understanding of what you like in your autonomous life as an adult. So like, what is your cooking routine? How do you like to live? Are you a morning person? Are you an evening person? I know that sounds really, really like pared down, but when you're in college, when you have sports practice, when you have all this stuff, someone is telling you when to be where and you don't have a lot of choice. So part of growing up and feeling connected to this earth is both experiencing the wonder and the bigness of the earth in these digestible doses, and also pairing it with a development and an understanding of who you are independent of the world's offerings and laws. Like literally, like, how do you want to dress? When do you want to wake up to feel good every day? And you need to try that out. So you can make it a goal to both slowly explore the big world, which is doing things by yourself that you've never done before, and taking the time to basically decide on the most basic level how you like to be in the world. That is a big task. That's enough. If you spent all of year 23 doing little bite-sized new things and using this now evolved you, because you're living at home, but you went through college, you're different. So go out in the world, even if it's your hometown, start to experience it as your new self. And then, figure out how you are as an independent human in the world. Don't lean on your parents to cook you dinner every night. Like, cook, figure out what you like to do, I mean, this is what my dad told me. When I was your age, I moved to Oregon and I did a 5th year. It was like a super senior year, but I was living off campus in a house, and it kind of felt like this because I was in a house for the first time in adulthood. It felt a little bit like I was in the real world. I still had this structure of school, but my dad told me, figure out how you like to live. And it was very, very helpful to do that. You want these decisions to be truly yours, right? And you might be around your parents, your friends who are now back home. And so to make sure that these opinions are actually yours, I think it's important to divorce from the routine of your family if you happen to be living at home. So you're not necessarily going to be home at 6 p.m. for dinner every night if that's your family's routine. And that gives you space. So you need space to have the freedom to move. And that's a communication thing, right, with your family. I mean, people are going to try to suggest to you what might be helpful for you and what you should do. And that's nice. Like people want to help you and they think they know you. So you can try things that people are suggesting of you or that they do, but you always need to take the time and understand how that really feels for you. Like, to honor this moment is also to see the tremendous space there is in nobody, and in you being a grown-up but not having kids, and you being 23 and not 33. Like there's opportunity in every single age and stage of your life if you just zoom out and say, how can I actually make this, like, how can I swim in the water that's here? Because there's water. Like, you might say it sucks because it's new and different and scary and unknown, but there's a lot of space here. Like, don't assume that anyone doesn't feel the same way that you do, and don't just talk to those people. Like, a bunch of 23-year-olds in a room being like, this sucks, is not that great. It's helpful because then you feel like you have company and it's important, but there's a lot of other voices and opportunities and creatures out there, even animals. I don't know. Sometimes you look at a cat and you're like, it's doing this, and then it's all of a sudden doing that. Aren't you allowed to shift your mood and follow your impulses like that too? So if you are not feeling so hot as a 23-year-old, look to other things to start to be like, how do they make their decisions? What's my cat doing? I like animals for that reason. Okay. Paula Curtis is struggling with procrastination. Procrastination nation. Let's get into it. So if you're procrastinating, you are putting something off, right? And you're going to put it off because you have an underlying feeling about it. So you could be afraid of doing it. Like, I'm not good enough, so I'm not going to do this thing. Or you might not, in your heart of hearts, really want to do that thing for some reason that you need to face. So I think, first of all, if it's a real deadline, maybe you need to take care of the task. Like, you need to do it. But more importantly, you need to figure out the why behind your procrastination, because that's going to ultimately help progress your life more than this assignment or whatever it is you're procrastinating about. If it's something you deeply care about, the feeling probably has to do with your ability to do the thing. If it's that you're not good enough, well, I'll tell you, someone will pull you out of the game if you need to be pulled out of a game. So if you don't think you're good enough to write this thing, but you've been tasked with writing it, just write it. If your procrastination has to do with your own ability to complete the task, meaning it's like a confidence issue, then my advice to you is to not be the arbiter of your ability to do this thing. Even if it was a passion project that only you are assigning to yourself, and especially that, let yourself do the task and then let the editor self of you analyze it later. And if it's something that somebody else is asking you to do, or you're part of a bigger thing, somebody asked you and invited you to do that. You have the job. So do the job, right? Who was it? Bryan Cranston said that when you're auditioning for a movie or anything, you're there to do a job. You're not there to get a job. So if you're mistaking the task that you have for an audition or a tryout, that's not what it is. It's an assignment. It's a job you already have. And that might help you a lot with your procrastination. What's been on my mind this month has been, I feel a little tickle in me that I've been running more. And it's been really fun and strangely like luring me in. And it's a little scary because I'm not trying to reach for something, but I feel the magnetism. And what I'm deciding is that my curiosity and like joy for this running, I'm going to let it, I'm going to be in the moment with it. So I'm going to enjoy it in the present as I have been. And as it pertains to like future possible goal setting and goals, I'm going to start talking about them out loud to my trusted friends and see how it feels to talk about it in a space where I know it's forgiving enough that I could abandon it if it doesn't feel true to me eventually. But it feels playful enough to actually grow into like this garden. So it's almost like I'm like, I see a little sprout. And my friends are like, awesome. Like, tell me about the sprout, or let's like go visit the garden tomorrow. And I'm seeing if more sprouts are growing. And I'm going to see if it becomes a garden without needing it to be a garden. And I think we give ourselves a real generous gift when we give ourselves the space to start talking about something that may or may not become bigger than a conversation. That was episode 4 of Help Me Please. I hope it was very helpful to you. And I would love to hear your questions. Please send your questions to the Mentor Buffet Instagram, DM them, voice memo, make them specific, or you can email your questions to helpmeplease.mentorbuffet@gmail.com. I'll see you next time. That was stupid. I will advise myself, help me please, to not do that next time.
I think it was adorable.
Okay.